Hey everyone, how are you? Ashley Hamadzai here, the Psychic Life Coach, and I'm so excited to share another Thought Leader Thursday with our amazing friend Monica Jayne. How did we meet? It was through Facebook?
It was through Facebook on one of the local Reno communities. I'm not sure which one.
Yes, and I was like, who is this person? Her energy is amazing. You can tell already with her beautiful, she's a unicorn. She's totally a unicorn. Hi, Nicole. How are you? And hello to everyone else who's popping on here. So I was like, I need to get to know you. And we set up a call and we just chatted. And I remember just kicking my feet up and just sharing my whole heart. And I'm like, you are amazing. I need to get you in front of my audience. And so, hi, Brian. I am so excited to spotlight her today. So Monica is a life coach of Unabashed Badassery. I love that name. It's so unique to you. So tell us, what does that mean? How did you come up with that name?
So life coach of Unabashed Badassery. I couldn't decide what to call myself because I am a possibilities person and I love everything. So I was like, how do I contain what I do in one title?
Yeah.
So I had about 50 of them on paper and I was like, you know what? Screw this. I am all about being unabashed. I'm the life coach of Unabashed Badassery. So what that really means is I have a passion for you finding what your unique version of unabashedness and badasseriness is.
Whoa, I love that, badasseriness.
Yeah, so I coach people to find what is true and unique for them and about them, which entails dropping all of the social conditioning and familial conditioning that you've received throughout your life. And some things you know, and other things you don't even realize you're repressing and hiding from yourself. You're hiding them so well. So that's what we uncover, and then you step into your own version of unabashed badassery.
And that is so amazing. And you guys know that I do a lot of life coaching. As a psychic, I do the healing, the crystals, the tarot, the reading of the energy. But I will definitely referring to Monica because we were talking previously about how we have so many layers of our being, right? There's like superficial stuff, then we were talking about like the mediocre to magical, there's the nutrition, you have this long list of all the things that we the checklist items that we go through, and there's one that is not talked about, and that is erotic intimacy, and I'm just gonna let you take the stage on that one because part of our conversation, she was talking about finding what turns you on, and it's not just in a sexual sense, but in life. So I was just blown away by this.
Yeah, so my personal journey comes from losing my mom 8 years ago this year. And she passed from ovarian cancer, and metaphysically it is said that, oh, you have Louise Hay right there. If we look that up, problems in the ovaries, it's creativity. It's creativity and not allowing yourself to express creatively. And what that means for you. And so I had a lot of deathbed talks with her, and she said, it came down to my mom's going to pass, and I had never had the conversation about sex with her. And I was 28 and she was 58. And I said, I have something I want to ask you. You might not want to answer it. I've debated about it for 3 or 4 days now, but you're quickly going, and if I don't ask you, I'll have to live the rest of my life knowing that I did not. And if you don't want to talk about it, then you can just let me know. So I asked her, she said, okay, what is it? And I said, Mom, have you ever had an orgasm? And she looked down. I hadn't talked to her about sex at all. She looked down, looked around, and my brought up Catholic, prudish mom turned to me and told me the truth, and she said, I don't know. And so I said, what do you mean you don't know? Because I wanted her help because I was having the same issue. And so through that conversation with her, it lasted quite a while. She came out saying, if I had it to do over again, I'd be more open and adventurous sexually. So that was when I was 28.
So powerful.
Yeah. Permission. Talk about permission. Finally. Yeah. Like growing up so repressed in religion. So coming back around to what you asked, I then pursued, so my mom died at 58 and I didn't want to repeat that history. And so I was like, how can I discover myself? How can I make sure I'm expressing myself creatively and all of this? So I went down the realm of spirituality, taking care of my emotions, my physical body, with exercise and nutrition, and my psychology with counseling. And I did that for about 2 years. And then when I discovered my eroticism, my sensuality, and had some amazing mentors guiding me through understanding my innate nature, my birthright, like who I was born to be and how I was born to express, it changed all of it. So I think what you're referring to earlier is we slate time, energy, space in our lives for these 4. And what was missing for me was eroticism. And it's like, who schedules time, like for my sex or my eroticism or for my sensuality?
Or even gives themselves permission to explore that. Is that okay? Am I weird? Am I kinky?
Yeah.
Do I want to?
Yeah. Let alone know what they want. So anyway, for me, my life very much changed the trajectory of my life, and knowing myself and actually knowing who I was to love that person really started with the erotic journey.
I love that. That's so powerful. And as far as this book, yes, Louise Hay, Heal Your Body, this is amazing. And like your lower chakras, especially like you were mentioning with your sacral, that's your creative space. And so if we're not letting that flow, if that's like, whether you're dancing, you're moving, that's eroticism. It doesn't necessarily have to be sex, it would be something like that. You're going to have that stagnant energy, and that can lead to cysts or whatever it is that's in that space. So it's so, so important. And I feel like you're so right. We don't focus on that. And sometimes it's taboo to talk about. And sometimes it's like, even with your closest friends, is this safe? Is this safe? Like, what if I tell people? So do you want to show them some of the goodies that you have?
Yeah, they're like, what are they going to think about me? So what I wanted to say, like, we can say that conceptually, that the work in eroticism isn't just sex, but I'd like to like demonstrate it. So for instance, that scarf, does that scarf light you up? Are you like, ooh?
I mean, not in a sexy way. Like with my husband, we're flinging it around. I'd be like, put that back. I just used it in a Facebook Live. But it does. So it's kind of fierce.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily like sexual turn on, but like what lights you up. So I use that phrase, what lights you up. So like this jacket lights me up. Bright pink lights me up. Pink lights me up. I had blonde hair, turned it to pink. So it's all about identifying like what lights you up. So we are told what should light us up. So social conditioning would have women see on TV that we are lit up, and this is not me talking, this is social conditioning, which we unwire from your being, is you are lit up by roses and candles and satin sheets and rose petal pathways to your bed and beautiful music and bubble baths. And maybe some of you right now are like, oh, ooh, I love all of those things.
That's your love language.
And there's like nothing wrong with that. You just happen to be maybe one of the lucky ones who isn't turned on by different things than that. So there's nothing wrong with you. Society tells people like me that there's something wrong with me because I laugh. I'm sorry to any man who's ever done that for me, but I just kind of like giggle to myself because I'm like, oh, you're doing the thing that like you see in movies. Yeah, but it didn't turn me on. Like, it doesn't turn me on. It doesn't light me up. It doesn't touch me. And so I thought something was wrong with me. Now men get the pressure that you have to be some sex god stud with like a giant cock and like a bunch of muscles and like really be able to pound her good and like...
Let's be clear to the men in the room. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
For some it does. That's what I'm here to say.
I love that.
Sexually wired women are the ones that get called sluts and whores in our society. There's nothing wrong with them. They just like traditional, what we think of as sex.
This is such a good conversation. Like, the ice needs to be broken on this because you're right. And I love what you're talking about. Like, oh, it made me feel wrong. It made me feel different. Like, and think about the man too, right? Like, gifts are not really my love language. If someone gives me a gift, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. but it's quality time is more of my thing. But if a guy is like, oh, this is what I think she'll like, she'll want the roses into this, and then it isn't received with like, oh my gosh, it's amazing, then they're hurting and they're wrong and different.
They feel like they did something wrong. Yeah. And men who aren't all about like penetration and hardcore sex think that there's something wrong with them because they're not wired like a man. And so our social conditioning tells you that you're wrong. So the ones that fall out, those are like sensual and sexual wired. Women are supposed to be sensual and men are supposed to be sexual. And then we don't meet each other. And so then women are like, be this way, and men are like, be this way. But there are more possibilities. And one of those is energetic, which your work would really speak to. So your clientele, people who like to see Ashley, most likely are energetically wired for turn on. And so that is energy and space. So like this very light, not dense feather is a symbol of the energetic wiring. And so like really light touch that's slow and just barely there, that is great for someone who's wired energetic for their turn on. Now,
so cool.
If you wanted to, like if you were, so I'm kinky, so all of my toys kind of have a kinky flair to them.
I felt myself like, oh, what are you going to do?
So she's looking at a flogger. So this flogger is actually sensual kinky because it's very soft. Like feel this, it's very soft and plush.
Yeah.
And so this like thick, lush plushness, like lusciousness and succulence and indulgence. These are all.
If I create a product, I want you to name it. Whatever it is, whether that's like a drink or something.
Well, I would ask you, who are we marketing to? Energetic, sensual, sexual, or kinky, or shapeshifter beings. Wow. So anyway, my toys. You wanted to see my toys. Yeah. That's sensual. One of my favorite terms comes from Jayne. She does a methodology called Badassery, which mixes bondage with massage. Whoa. And makes it sensual. So people who think that they're not kinky at all, but they're sensual and they're paired with a kinky person.
What do you do? Yeah.
The bridge would be this Badassery. But anyway, she has this term called pervertible.
I've never seen this, guys. I'm like learning with you. I'm like, what are you gonna do with that?
So she has a term called pervertible. It means like any everyday item. This is just like a round brush from the dollar store that's like really, really fill it. It's kind of sharp.
It looks like a weapon.
Yeah. So this that you call an everyday item that you use for turn on a pervertible. So we're perverting this thing.
Okay.
So like it's really spiky. I'm not going to push too hard because I don't want my face to get all red. But it's really spiky, so you can use it like as a turn on, on the low belly or across the breasts or somewhere on the body. You can drag it. So anyway, this is a kinky toy. And you call it a pervertible. It's a fun word. Vocabulary word for the day.
I love that. And for everyone who's on here, I love this, again, opens up the conversation. But if it's you and your partner and you don't really know what it is that they're looking for, or maybe you've been in a relationship for a while, what an amazing person to turn to, because she not only has like a wealth of knowledge of what the options are, but there's a communication layer as well, because it can be awkward to ask, like, what are your fantasies? No, I don't know. What are your fantasies? You're like, oh, nothing. And it's like, do you really, like, how do you have that conversation?
That is the biggest...
Bring in the unicorn and the pervertibles.
So that is the biggest, that is the most common outcome from doing this work that people receive, that they tell me, testimonials, is I now have a language to speak what I want. Like I never knew how to talk about it or what it was called or how to verbalize it. And now I do. Yeah. But also knowing what they want. Like so many people don't even know what they want. So how are you going to have the needs conversation with your partners when you don't even know what you do love? Because you're so messed in the head about what you should love. Yes. And how you should be. So like women who have a hard time like being like, so good, very like sensual and seductive and stuff, they're like, I can't move, I can't dance. And I believe, it's my belief that they're saying it because they can't do it like we're shown it should look. But when they, do work with me and we learn they're energetic and we start to really feel like, I don't know if you feel this energy, but I feel it, like this very energetic movement, like I'm tapping into my lighting up, my light, how I'm wired.
That's another conversation too of like, what do you like? And I believe that how you do one thing is how you do everything. There's kind of like a core thing of like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so just exploring the idea of eroticism, if we don't know exactly what do we want, like what are we even curious about, and we're not willing to investigate that, then what areas of our life are we deflating because we're not willing to look at what is it that we want because of the social conditioning of what we think we should want in a career, in our financial status, in our relationship, with our social relationships. Like, what a wonderful, interesting conversation around that. And so you'd mentioned testimonials, so let's dive into that as well. What are some client testimonials? I know you do amazing work, and I trust that anyone, if you have a slight tug on your heart and you're like, this is awesome.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Robin says this makes me blush. That is beautiful. Blushing is a sign of turn on.
And I was watching you, like you were talking to me, but I was watching you and I was like, you're like, I was watching you.
Yeah,
this is great.
So blush is that like percolation within you that tells you there's something there for you. Like it could, like blushing and being intrigued is turn on energy. And it's uncomfortable for some people. And blushing and contraction, that's turn off energy. So we can distinguish like, oh, what's that blush about? Are you expanding or contracting in that blushing?
Yes.
It's one of the ways to discover it.
Are you expanding or contracting in that blushing, and what makes you blush? For me, I always say, find your hell yes. Whatever it is that you're doing in life, whatever decision, no matter how crazy or how financially risky, it has to be your hell yes. And for you, it's like find your turn on. That's what it is. And I love that's the element of the eroticism. It's like for women, the divine feminine. For men, would that be the divine masculine?
Yeah,
tuning into that, your own superpower that's underdeveloped, and think about how much of our brain that we have that we don't even use. Think about how much of our body, like the energy system within our body, that we don't even understand and we don't tap into. Like this is a superpower. It really is. That's so cool. So
yeah. So speaking of like divine feminine and masculine, I'm a big proponent of a balance of both within us. So allowing like all the parts of you. Oh yay, Robin was expanding. Woo!
I know, I love it.
So like embracing all of the aspects of who you are. So my slogan is dare to live your life unabashed. And unabashed is the word because I didn't want to use shame, unashamed in my words, because unabashedness is all about not having the shame about who you are. So yeah, so as far as clients go, I'll give a couple of examples. So I won't give names. So what's really interesting in this is that it's a very intimate topic, and some people are okay with names and others aren't, and so we'll just stay nameless here. So a couple that I worked with, it all started by them reaching out with, the traditional relationship issue. We love each other so much, but we cannot get along no matter how hard we try. Or we love each other so much and we want to feel more connection. And every time we try to connect, we end up with more disconnection, triggered in a fight, things like this. And so what this work allows you to do is see yourself so deeply, and it's like creates the most intimate self-love relationship with yourself that you can then now meet others from that greater fulfillment of self-love, but also that greater understanding of yourself. So now you can speak for what you need and want and desire in life, and so can they. And so this is an example of a couple that worked with me as a couple, and within 2 sessions, they were in a place of being able to connect they were still getting the triggers, but understanding the triggers and being resourced in that triggered zone.
Mm.
And my main package is an 8-session journey. Where
I love that. It's a journey of self-discovery, of unabashed badassery. That's great.
Totally. And so each module has its own emphasis, and the first 3 are really about self-discovery, and the 4th one's feeding. So how do you feed your erotic wiring?
Well, I'm ready to be nourished. Do continue.
I'm sensing some dominant, kinky energy from you.
You're right. I'm a Scorpio through and through. And I'm wearing my leopard scarf today. I'm feeling frisky.
That's awesome. You can boss me around. I love being a sub. So anyway, they're really learning how to feed each other. Oh, and then one of the modules is speaking. So you learn what kind of speaking is: words, tonality, pacing, body language, and tone. And so
first of all, hold up. That was so good. My husband, if he were to say, like, just the pace, if he were to say something and switch up his pace, and I'm like brushing my teeth, you betcha that would get my attention. I didn't realize that. They're so subtle. Okay, I'm gonna practice this. He's not on Facebook, so it's totally cool. This is good. I hope you guys are taking notes here. Not only, like, if you want the level upgrade, like doing a session, but the small things that we never think about.
Yeah. So you're being turned off and turned on every minute of every day. And when you're aware of this stuff, you can bring more turn on into your life. So this couple is coming to a place of seeing, feeling, hearing their own selves more deeply than they ever have. Because again, that 5th link, that eroticism, we turn our cheeks and we ignore and we repress that part of ourselves. And it is the part of oneself that brought you into this world, and the part of oneself that will bring others into this world if you so choose. So it is vital. So another example, my clients range from in their 20s up into their 90s, and men and women. I really appreciate working with a diverse array of both sexes.
And you do couples too.
And couples.
Okay, cool. Which one is your favorite?
That was a couple. My favorite are people who are ready and willing to look at the ways that they have been repressed by societal norms and therefore repressed themselves, who are ready to excavate that which you've hidden from yourself or from the world, and who are ready to find a safe way in your own unique, unabashed way to bring that to the surface and be all of who you are. So there's not really like a demographic, like an age, a career type, sex, or anything that really falls into that realm. So for instance, this woman is in her 80s, and within 2 sessions, finding out that she's sensually wired and bringing in all of the sensual into her life with words. She was way about the words, so into the words. So she started, like, way into the words is not a sensual way to say things. She began to indulge in what vocabulary inspired within her entirety of her beingness. I just spoke to a sensual energetic right there.
Yeah. So that is amazing. And so I was telling her about this meme that I saw, and I wish I could find it to post it, but there was, it's like a husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, probably husband and a wife. And the wife is like this, just like, super happy. And the guy is like this in the sheets. He's got like stress marks around his head, and his eyes are like this. And he's like, I just want to love her, and she wants me to call her bad names. That's what it is. And it was so funny because the girl's just like, that's perfect. But it was this miscommunication. So how do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would call it like a miscommunication so much as an observation that how she's wired and how he's wired is seemingly incompatible. So that's another thing this work does, is demystifies sexual incompatibility. It is a myth.
That's good.
It is a myth. So it's about feeding his energetic or sensual, whatever needs fed and nourished and held by her in the way that it does, so that he doesn't have to go through feeling those awful feelings and giving her what she wants. Now there are some things that people won't consent to, and that's fine. So I'm not saying sexual incompatibility is a myth. You can do everything that makes you uncomfortable. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these are the kind of issues that people come to the table with me, and we look at, oh, okay, see, hear, feel you in who you are. See, hear, feel you in what you are. So what she's referring to is degradation. Some kinky people are psychologically kinky, and they are turned on by being degraded by others. So calling her bad names. Like some are like sexy bad names, like you dirty slut or something like that. And others are like insulting the intelligence, like you're an idiot, you'll never amount to anything. And some people are actually turned on by that. And different
so
strokes
cool
for different folks.
Yeah, is even like testing my reaction to this, because and I love you talk about like demystifying it, because for me I'm like, oh my gosh, like what would I do? But for someone else, like it's not wrong, it's not bad, it's just acknowledging that that's what they're doing. We got neighbors, people. We're in Midtown.
It's just so that's exactly it. Like the couple got to see each other for who they were and meet each other there, and decide then, is this somebody that I'm willing to be compatible with? And with this 80-something-year-old woman, she had been not physically intimate with her partner for 20 years. They just weren't vibing. And after 2 sessions, they were in their 80s. So
rock on. Life goals right there.
And have continued to be. And then 30-something-year-old woman, this is a classic situation where women, not even women, men and women, excuse me, all people, no matter what sex you identify as, if it's man, woman, or something else, we have a social conditioning of not speaking up for ourselves. And so when you're told and conditioned, don't speak up for yourself, you lose sight and lose track of what it is you would speak up for in the first place. And so healing the how inhibited you are in speaking up for what you need and want is huge. That's huge in my work, is you finally are able to speak up, because you learn that there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
What I want is not wrong. It's what I want. It doesn't obligate anyone around me to do it for me, but I can still speak it. Or maybe I do it for myself now that I know what I want in life.
And I just had a vision of, hi Grace, what's up? I just had a vision of, it's something in like movies that I'll see, and the guy or the girl will come walking into the office and she's like extra confident, and what somebody will say is, oh, somebody got some last night. And that popped into my head because it is something that there's always a little bit of truth in everything that we share, right? There is a little bit, like after, because you have this like powerful experience of like, oh yeah, now imagine doing this kind of work. That can be your life every day, because you found your erotic self. Like you found your power to where you're walking into the office, you're walking to whatever it is, standing tall because you figured this out. And it's just like going to the gym, right? Like if I wanted to go to a gym and I want to work out and I do it by myself, I'm doing push-ups to the floor, like no one's watching me, no one is coaching me. But when you have someone who knows their stuff and can like see things before you can even see it, it gets you there faster. And I think this is just, it's so good, because that vision of someone walking into the office, I was like, yeah, that's what we all want. It's in these lower chakras, which especially for women are blocked, but I see. And I know I struggle with that too. Like my lower chakras, I have to do so much work, or I'll just like clear these out, and then I'm like, oh, maybe, I don't know, I just have the hardest time. But you are the gap. You fill the gap.
I am the gap.
Yeah, you fill the gap. So let's dive into, if somebody wants to work with you, because clearly we have all of the amazing like testimonials and reasons to do so, how they connect with you and what does that look like?
Yeah, awesome. So there's the best way to get a hold of me would be by email. And my email is the letter M, as in Monica, at Monica Jayne, JAYNE.com. So MONICAJAYNE.com.
We'll post it below too.
My website is monicajayne.com, Jayne with a Y.
Perfect.
And the best place to really get a feel and a taste, because I've over the last 8 years, I've spent over $75,000 and had about 8 to 10 mentors in this. And it is very important that you connect, that you feel lit up by and comfortable and expansive with your mentor.
100%.
And just to be clear, I don't do any hands-on anything. That's not what this is about. In California, it is legal, so I just wanted to clear that up when I'm saying you have to be lit up by your mentor. I'm not saying in that way, but just like being in their energy.
Yeah.
And so Facebook, Monica Jayne, JAYNE, is the best place to get a feel for who I am and how I am. And that's mainly where I gain clients, is people just message me randomly and say, oh my gosh, I want some of what you have. You are so unabashed in the way that you are. You're so grounded. You're so comfortable.
Yeah.
You speak for your needs. You're such a great example. Like, I wish I could, be more like you or do the things that you do. And
so
that's why I'm offering what I offer, because it is how I came to the place where I could actually truly love myself for all of who I am, without hiding or repressing or being embarrassed about it.
I love it.
Yeah. So you asked the question. So we've got Facebook, Instagram, and email's the best way to get a hold of me. And shall I let them know about what I'm offering?
Yes.
them?
Yeah.
Cool.
Exciting things coming your way.
Yeah. So the best way to discover if this work is what you want to do right now is through a Passionate Possibilities session. And what that is a 1-hour discovery call with me, where we dive deep into what's going on for you, what your current circumstances are, what you want them to be, and what might be blocking you, and ways that you could get there. And these Passionate Possibilities calls turn the tables, turn the momentum around for people just in and of themselves. So I'm offering them complimentary through the end of March to all of you. The way that you would set that up is you can email me if you want, but the best way would be to go to my Instagram. It's Miss MISS Monica Jayne is my handle, and the link is there in my bio to schedule a complimentary 60 to 90 minute discovery call, Passionate and Possibility session. And then another thing you could do if you wanted was email me and let me know that you want the quiz, and I'll send you a PDF quiz where you can discover how you are wired for turn on in your life.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm going to take that quiz. And then have my husband take it too. See, this is opening my mind on so many different levels. We've only been together for 3 years, so I'm I know eventually we're going to have to kink things up. I'm not sure about the fluffy bunny whip over there. But maybe we'll see.
Well, so I want to explain kink really quick because
Ooh, yes.
So kinky, when you find out the trend, this work has been done by hundreds of thousands of people across the world. I am not the only one certified in this. And so what we found is that people who are kinky tend to have the most shame because we're the weirdest, according to society. And so it's a big excavation to heal the kink shame and let your freak flag fly and dare to be unabashedly you. And
so speaking of that, Christina had asked, when is your next couples class, and then also the Freaky Fridays?
Yeah. So all of my classes so far have been singles or couples. You can come either way. I actually don't have one slated, but if you follow me on Facebook or shoot an email to me, I can add you to the list. And my next scheduled offering is March 22nd, next Friday at the studio at 7 p.m. And this is so cool. What this is it's called Freaky Fridays.
Already it's cool. And then wait till you guys see the picture. Then you'll be like, okay, I'm totally there.
We'll post it on the comments to the video.
Yeah.
So Freaky Fridays is my contribution to community to hold a safe, informed space where you can talk about anything you want to, about sexuality, or the way I phrase it is, you can ask all the questions you were too afraid to ask growing up or even now, and talk about all the things that you were never taught about. We had our first one last month, and I actually have some testimonial remarks about it, but let's see. It's this one. He said, John Gunzel, he said I could use his name. Some of you might know him, John the Juggler. He's here in Reno. He said, I had such a wonderful experience delving into the realms that most people keep hush hush. I learned a significant amount about myself and how I receive love, affection, and pleasure. Monica Jayne hosts such a safe space where I felt comfortable voicing myself and being heard. Such a powerful modality of healing, an even more powerful woman facilitating it.
Win. Mm-hmm. I love that. So come one, come all, 100%, whether a lot of people are in quiet desperation, so invite your friends. It doesn't matter if you're like, oh, they're into this or not. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm really satisfied with what my husband and satisfied sounds like a mediocre word. I am like really, really happy with everything we have going on, but I still think it's important to visit, to sit in, to experience, to expand our mind and our hearts to what's out there.
Yeah, that's one of the things is people, like, you might start to have a little bit of a noticing that things could be better, but you don't want to wait until you're so not yourself, you're so depleted in life. You don't want to wait till your relationship is so down in the dark before you do something. So one of the ways to check me out, check this workout, see, like, open up the conversation for yourself is this destigmatization of these conversations at Freaky Fridays. They're the 4th Friday of every month at the studio at 7 p.m.
Okay, so you guys, on Ascension Sunday, we're going to do our best to make sure those are posted under Ascension Sunday, so you will have access to them. And then, of course, access to the amazing Monica Jayne on all of the social media and email platforms. So do you have any last words of wisdom that you would like to leave our audience? Oh, yeah, I know Christina said that she wants to attend the next intimacy workshop. This is so good.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I want to come to one of your intimacy workshops. Yes. So if you have suggestions for venues that you'd like to have those, I do a 3-hour class, and it's so awesome. Yeah. So I like to do those once or twice a month, but this month I was focusing on media appearances. And so I have 4 to 6 of those throughout March. But starting in April and beyond, we'll start doing more classes.
Awesome. Okay. Question that I have. What is the difference? Okay, tantric. I had a friend tell me, oh, there's like a tantric workshop. And I was like, do you want to come? And I was like, cool, yeah. And then I was like, wait, what's tantric? And then she kind of described it to me. And I was like, first of all, I know a lot of people in this town, and I just didn't know. And I was like, I don't know. And this is what I did. Brave Ashley, who's out there all the time, I was like, I'll catch you later, you know? And so I'm kind of curious about it. My husband is like Persian. He's very proper, and, you know, I don't know if I could get him to come to one of those yet. But I was curious to know your thoughts on the tantric community, what that looks like. Like, I need to be informed on what this is and how it's different from you, because you had said it was from what you do. You said it was hands-off.
Yeah, you know what? I love that you're asking that, because a lot of people say, oh, you're the tantric lady, the one who uses unicorns for your logo. And I'm like, yes on the unicorns, no, 50%, no on the tantra. So tantra, this is a really, okay, so I'm going to explain it in this, and I'm not the expert to explain this to you, but I will answer the question. Tantra is thousands of years old, out of India, and it came about because the common folks wanted a way to connect with the divine, because they saw, you know, the people in the mountains and the caves and stuff, the meditators, really like, and they wanted that divine connection as well. Wow. And so they found that they could get it through sexuality. They connect to divinity through that.
Did anybody else know this? Please drop it in the comments or ask questions. I was like, now I'm way more interested.
This is an extremely elementary description, and I don't mean to minimize Tantra at all. But tantric practices would be within the realm of being energetically wired for turn-on. So some people who are wired for energetic turn-on will get the people who are wired for that will most likely get so much out of those workshops. And then say if you go with a group of friends, the ones who are getting the most out of it, energetically wired for turn on, hands down. Those who are like I could take it or leave it, they're just wired differently. So Tantra falls within one of the 5 realms of sexuality, eroticism that I work in. And if I were working with someone who was just discovering they were energetic and wanted to honor and feed that, then I would recommend go to a tantric workshop.
And what do those typically look like?
Well, they range vastly. Some, can be closed on, others can be closed off. It just really depends on the offering and the practitioner and what they're up to. So I just recently was at one here in Reno, and it was closed on the entire time, and it was about energetic orgasm. And, come to find out,
no pun intended.
Of the like 10 or 12 people there, some people really connected to it, and then others didn't. And this is what we were talking about earlier, we didn't talk on the video, is that you can walk away from an experience like that and think there's something wrong with you because you go with a group of friends and you're the only one who didn't, or 2 of you didn't, and everybody else like really vibed with it. It's there's nothing wrong with you. You're just wired differently. And the cool thing is, when we work together and really understand all of these, you can cultivate all of the languages, all of the wiring. So you can go from that not being turn on for you to it becoming one.
Cool.
So that is another way that the sexual incompatibility is a myth. Like, if your partner's very energetic and you aren't, and you're not able to meet them where they are, you learn to, and then you even learn, your body even learns to be turned on by it. So really it's like learning languages. Stuff. It really is next level. So the 8-week journey is all about, where are you at now? How can we get you fed? How can we get you satiated? How can we get you loving yourself fully for all of who you are? And then we do, expansion work or other things like that after the 8-week. But that's like the initiation.
Yeah. That is so cool and so needed. It's so needed not only in our community, but in our world. I know I've learned so much today. If you guys have any questions, we would be happy to answer those. So back to, what words of wisdom would you like to leave our audience? The whole idea of this group is to help elevate your mindset, your human experience from mediocre to magical. And eroticism is clearly a whole part of that.
So magical.
Yeah.
But for some people, you might not feel that way. And I want to say that that's okay too. Maybe eroticism isn't magical for you right now. Maybe not ever. And that's something that we discover. So even being an erotic coach, someone who who feels asexual, I work with people who feel asexual because they think there's something wrong with them.
And I had to look that word up when we talked. We were on the phone and I was like, I'm a smart person, but I was asexual. It's like, I kind of knew in biology, but that is when you're not driven for men or women, you're just not driven for sex, right?
Yeah, we can't go there because of time, but another aspect of all of this is what your state of being is. So your state of being might just be resting for the rest of your life, and therefore you're asexual. It might be resting right now. So we look at your state of being like healing, resting, curious, adventurous, transformational. So that's like the whole next level thing that you just mentioned. So anyway, back to the question.
Yeah.
This is an infinite, I always say sex is infinite. I could talk to people forever. We talked for 2.5 hours the first time we talked, and we never met before. So this is what I would have to say about from mediocre to magical. We hear often that we need to love ourselves more, that we need to follow our hearts, find our passion, live the life you were supposed to, like you were born to live. And I wanted that so bad for so many years, chasing it, taking workshops, trying to find that for myself. And the way that I found it for me was this missing link. Who am I wired to be? What am I like as a person? What lights me up? What gives me a reason to live? For me, turn on is your compass, and turn on is your guiding light. pushing, like pointing in the direction that would have you feel the most fulfilled, fed, seen, heard, and excited to wake up tomorrow. So mine is find what turns you on. And it might be completely outside the bounds or realms of anything you ever thought of. And someone like me, and like I mentioned, there's a bunch of coaches certified in this. So if I'm not a match for you, if you're like, wow, this is really interesting, but I'm not turned on by Monica, just let me know. And Monica Jayne will help you find a coach that is a turn on for you, that you vibe with. But for me, it is, it falls flat. Love yourself falls flat when I don't know how. And I found that knowing what turns me on, letting me wear the clothes I want to wear, letting me have pink hair if I want to have pink hair, is a way that I have found to love myself fully and be all of who I am.
I love that. And I am just so honored to have you featured here today. Thank you for being a friend and a mentor and sharing all of your wisdom with us today. We love all of you. Thank you so much for popping on today if you're watching the replay.
Ooh. So sorry to interrupt. We just have so many things to vibe off of.
Yeah.
So energetic kiss. Which one of these turns you on? An energetic kiss is really light, like a sensual kiss is a sexual, and a kinky. It's usually a butt slap, but I'll slap my hand. It's like
Oh. I kind of like that one. I kind of like the sensual one.
I'm getting kinky vibes off of you. I'm getting kinky vibes. You're one of my kinky sisters. That's why. So here's the deal. I'm living myself. I'm being myself and living my life as myself, and I'm attracting my tribe.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that happens in this work is you're in your zone.
Yeah.
And you like opportunities, people, career stuff, cars, like all the things that actually vibe with you just come.
Yeah.
It's like law of attraction, like in the flesh. So anyway, no more interruptions.
No, I love that. And I see sensual in this,
Oh, yay, we get feedback.
Sensual. Amen to the pink and purple hair. Yes, absolutely.
Sensual, she liked. Sexual, and I like the energetic sexual.
Yeah, that was a good quiz. Yeah. I had to think about that.
Yeah. So the PDF quiz that I'll send out is a great starter, and when we work together, we let the body show us, and like I said, I'm not hands-on, but we let the body show you your truth. So the body doesn't lie. Your brain might trick you, and your quiz will come out how it comes out. And sometimes it's in alignment, and sometimes it's completely not because you're so repressed and like your brain's denying yourself who you are.
Yeah, this is what I actually feel, but she's going to look at my test results, so maybe I should put this. That's amazing. This has been so powerful, and thank you. Thank you so much. So we love you so much. Hope you guys have an amazing day full of amazing things, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.